She stood there in front of the mirror, curling her hair with the same focused care she had the night we first met. But this time, it wasn't for me. That red dress hugged her like temptation itself, and her perfume, that same jasmine scent I used to lose myself in, now filled the room like a slow-acting toxin. I just stood there, shirt halfway buttoned, frozen in place, gripping a glass of whiskey like it might somehow steady the emotional earthquake splitting my world apart. "I'm heading out," she said, cool as ever, slipping a golden earring into place, her voice soaked in smug confidence. I blinked. Out? With who? She rolled her eyes at me like I was some clueless kid. "With a friend," she said flatly. I fired back. "You mean the same friend who texts you at 2 a.m.? The one who calls you baby and floods your phone with shirtless gym selfies?" She finally looked at me then. For just a brief second, I thought I saw the woman I married, the softness, the warmth. But it vanished just as quickly. A trick of the light. Then came the blow that killed whatever hope was left. "You can either accept it," she said, smirking, "or lose everything." My mouth went bone dry. What the hell is that supposed to mean? She started walking toward me, heels clicking like a warning bell, her grin full of venom. "It means I'm with someone else now. It means I'm done playing house. And if you try to stand in my way, I'll make damn sure you walk away with nothing. I'll take the house, the business, everything that matters to you." I let out a short laugh, not because it was funny, but because it felt unreal. This was the same woman I once shared my deepest fears with, and now she was threatening to burn my life to the ground just to be with another man. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice cracking. She leaned in close, her breath cold. "You'll find out soon enough." Every part of me wanted to lash out, grab her phone, drag the truth into the light, expose every dirty little secret. But I didn't. Not yet. Because something in me clicked. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a declaration of war. And she had no idea who she was starting a fight with. As she strutted toward the front door, I noticed something that made my blood boil. Her keys weren't hers. They were mine. My car. The one I bought. The one she used to beg to drive. "You're not taking my car," I said, stepping in her path. She stopped, arched an eyebrow, and shot back without missing a beat. "Then I guess I'll just have to tell the judge about those little under-the-table cash deals your business pulled off last year. Think the IRS will be as kind as I was." There it was. The knife. She'd been saving it, just waiting for the right time to twist it. I thought my secrets were safe with her. I was wrong. My fists clenched. "You've changed." She grinned. "No. You're just finally seeing me for who I really am." Then she slammed the door behind her. It echoed through the house like a gunshot. And just like that, the silence felt like a funeral. I stood there for what felt like hours, staring at the wall. The ticking clock. The slow melt of ice in my glass. And then, the cruelest realization hit me, she didn't even feel bad. This wasn't some drift or rough patch. This wasn't a marriage falling apart by accident. This was cold. Planned. Strategic. She'd been working this angle for a while. But she wasn't the only one who could play dirty. I grabbed my phone and opened the hidden folder in my photo gallery. Screenshots. Text threads. Voicemails. I'd started collecting them weeks ago when things stopped lining up. Back then, I didn't want to believe what my gut was telling me. But now? Now I knew. She used to be mine. But tonight, she made herself the enemy. And I've never lost a damn war. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the living room, lights off, her perfume still hanging in the air like the ghost of a slap. Every little creak from the upstairs floor had my mind spinning, imagining her sneaking in, whispering on the phone, or laughing with him behind my back. The thoughts did more damage than she ever could. At 3:47 a.m., the front door creaked open. I didn't move. She came stumbling in, heels in hand, makeup smudged like a raccoon, hair a wreck, and her bottom lip swollen. She didn't see me sitting in the dark. I let her walk right past. She reeked of booze and another man's cologne. "Have a good night?" I asked, my voice low and steady. She jumped like a thief caught mid-act, clutching her purse tight. "Jesus, Peter, what are you doing just sitting there like some kind of creep?" I didn't even flinch. "I could ask you the same." She didn't bother lying. Just sighed, like I was the one making her life difficult. "Look," she said, kicking off her heels like the night was just another chore, "we don't have to drag this out. You knew this was coming." Did I? I stood up slowly. Because I don't remember signing off on my wife turning into some late-night club rat who threatens me on her way out the door. Her eyes narrowed. "God, you're so dramatic." "No. I'm cheated on." That hit harder than I thought it would. She blinked but didn't flinch. No denial. No guilt. No shame. I don't love you anymore, she said bluntly. Haven't for a while. I just didn't have the guts to end it. But I do now. She let her purse fall to the floor and walked into the kitchen like she owned the place. You should thank me, she tossed over her shoulder. At least I'm being honest now. Honest. I followed her in, heat rising in my chest. You've been lying to my face for months. Because you couldn't handle the truth, she said casually, pouring herself a glass of water like we were talking about the weather. You haven't touched me in weeks, she added. You're always buried in work. What exactly did you think would happen? I thought, I said, my voice tight, that if my wife was unhappy, she'd talk to me. Not sneak around like some teenage girl crushing on a guy from the wrong side of town. She slammed the glass on the counter. Water splashed everywhere. You're pathetic, Peter, she spat. Always pretending you've got things under control. You don't. You never did. And there it was. Her real voice. Not the fake one she used at dinners or when my mom visited. This one was raw, cold, mean, and dripping with venom. You planned this, I said quietly, piecing it together out loud. The threats. The affair. The timing. You waited until the business was up so you could take half. She smirked. Took you long enough. My hands twitched. Every part of me wanted to grab something. Her phone, the TV, a plate, anything to smash. But I didn't. Instead, I walked past her, into the office, and shut the door. Locked it. I needed space. I needed air. I opened the drawer, pulled out the manila envelope I'd stashed weeks ago, and dumped everything onto the desk. Photos. Receipts. GPS logs from the tracker I planted in her car. Even a hotel bill she'd forgotten to erase. I had the whole damn story laid out in front of me. This wasn't just cheating, it was betrayal on a scale I wasn't ready for. She'd used my trust, my money, and my silence to build her own fantasy. And now she wanted to leave me in the dirt. But I wasn't letting her walk away clean. Around 5 in the morning, I heard her footsteps in the hallway. Then a knock on the door. Peter, can we just talk? Not now. Don't be a child. I opened the door slowly. You're right, I said calmly. Let's talk. She stepped back, caught off guard by the change in my tone. I handed her a sheet of paper. Her face went pale as she read it. What is this? My lawyer's info, I said. He'll be in touch tomorrow. You're divorcing me? You thought I wouldn't? After all this? She just stood there, mouth open, blinking like she couldn't process it. She expected tears. She expected me to fall apart. But I didn't. Fine, she hissed. But don't think you're walking away clean. You want to play dirty? I'll bury you, Peter. I smiled for the first time that night. You already tried. And you lost. Then I shut the door in her face. The silence afterward wasn't peaceful, but it belonged to me. And for the first time in forever, I could breathe again. This wasn't over. Not even close. But I wasn't scared anymore. I had loved her. I had built a life around her. And she torched it. Now I'd walk through the ashes with my head high. And she'd choke on the smoke. When morning came, sunlight spilled through the blinds like nothing had happened. As if the house didn't reek of betrayal. I hadn't slept a minute, but I didn't feel tired. Something colder than heartbreak had taken over. Sharper than rage. I showered. Shaved. Got dressed like it was just another Tuesday. Only it wasn't. She was still in the house, probably upstairs thinking I was bluffing. Probably texting that lowlife she risked everything for, laughing about how poor Peter finally snapped. She had no idea. I went downstairs and found her sitting at the kitchen table, sipping coffee like the world hadn't just cracked in half. She didn't even look up. You're still here, she muttered, barely glancing my way. I live here, I said flatly. You won't be for much longer. That made her pause. She set her coffee down, raised an eyebrow. So that's how it's going to be, huh? I didn't answer with words. Instead, I dropped a thick folder onto the table with a thud that made her flinch. Everything you've done. Every place you've been. It's all in there, timestamps, receipts, even video. She opened the folder, and the color drained from her face when her eyes landed on a still image of her walking into that midtown hotel with him. Her lips parted like she was about to explain it away, but I cut her off before she could spit out a single excuse. Don't. I don't want your stories. I want you gone. She snapped back, her voice sharp. Oh, so now you think this makes you the hero? You think you're some saint because you collected evidence? You were never there for me, she added. You spent more time with your damn laptop than with your wife. I was building a life, I said, a future for us. Well, I never asked for that kind of life. No, I said, stepping closer. You didn't ask for honesty either. You wanted someone you could bend, control, keep in your pocket. And you have that man, until today. She stood up and crossed her arms. Fine. You want a divorce? I'll take half. I nodded slowly. Try it. But when your new boyfriend sees the kind of attention you'll be getting from my attorney, let's see if he's still so eager to play house with you. That hit home. Her chin wobbled for just a second before she pasted that smug little smile back on her face. He's not like you. No, I said, cool as ice. He's an idiot. She spun around and stormed off, slamming the bedroom door so hard a picture frame hit the floor. I didn't even blink. I picked it up, turned it face down on the shelf, and kept moving. By midday, I'd locked down everything, changed all the account passwords, shifted the business assets, and dropped key documents off at my brother's house. She wasn't going to sink the ship I built with her hands on the wheel. She wanted to get dirty? I knew the rulebook better. Then my phone buzzed. A blocked number. I opened it. A photo. There she was wrapped around him at some club. His hand was halfway up her dress, and her lips were at his ear like she was staking a claim. The caption, she's mine now. Accepted. I stared at it, not with rage, but with quiet amusement. These two thought they were untouchable. That was cute. I saved the photo and slid it into the growing case file. Let them play. The messier they got, the easier it would be to bury them in court filings and scandal. Around 4, I heard her talking loud in the bedroom. I stepped closer and listened. She was on speakerphone, pacing. Peter's acting tough, but don't worry, she said. He's always been soft. Just give me a week. I'll have the money. We'll be in Miami by next month. I walked in, silent. She jumped when she saw me. I didn't hear you. I'm sure you didn't, I said. You were too busy scheming with the guy who's about to get slapped with a lawsuit. Her face flushed. You were spying? No, I said. I was walking into my own bedroom. Or did you forget it still belongs to me? She scrambled to end the call, but it didn't matter. I'd heard enough. I want you out by tomorrow. And if I'm not, then you'll sit in court while a judge reads every word of that folder out loud. And I'll make sure your mother is sitting right there in the front row. She went pale. You wouldn't. I leaned in just enough for her to see I meant every word. You really don't know who you're dealing with, do you? That night, she didn't come home. I didn't ask where she went. Didn't care. I stood in the backyard under the stars, the same stars we used to look at together, talking about kids, trips we'd never take, growing old. Now the silence felt like something else. Not peace, but maybe the start of it. The next morning, her side of the bed was still untouched. Pillow smooth. No trace of her perfume. And for once, waking up didn't feel like punishment. She didn't come back the next day either. Or the one after that. I figured she was with him, probably sipping cocktails and laughing about how she won. But what she didn't know was that the wheels were already turning. My lawyer, Todd, was efficient. Cold. Ruthless. Everything I never had the stomach to be. He didn't waste time. He didn't ask me how I felt. He just moved. By noon, the divorce petition was filed. Temporary orders were in place. Her access to joint accounts frozen. Her little dream world was running on fumes now. And I didn't want revenge. I wanted freedom. Watching her lose along the way? That was just a bonus. 3 days passed before she showed up again. No makeup, no heels, not even the fake charm she used to wear like armor. She looked smaller than I remembered. Worn down. But I didn't feel a damn thing. Peter, she said softly, like we were still something, like she hadn't tried to carve me open and walk away smiling. I stood in the doorway, blocking her from coming in. Forget your charger? She let out a sigh. I'm not here to argue. You think this is still about arguing? I asked. You left. You threatened me. You tried to humiliate me. This isn't a fight. This is cleanup. I messed up, she whispered. No, I said, keeping my voice calm. You made choices. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Which part? I asked. The cheating? The threats? Or maybe the part where you called me pathetic? Her eyes dropped to the floor. I just needed something different. I felt like I was suffocating here. So your answer was to burn it all down? Tears welled up in her eyes. For a second, I almost felt something. Almost. Then I remembered that photo of her grinding on him. Her message to him saying I was just some sad, routine-loving loser. Whatever sympathy I had left evaporated. I came to get the rest of my stuff, she said after a long pause. I stepped aside. Make it quick. She moved through the house like a ghost, quiet, no makeup, no high heels, no smugness. Just a woman who thought she could be the storm, but got caught in her own flood. I sat on the stairs and watched as she packed up her things. Makeup, jewelry, a couple dresses, her laptop, She didn't even glance at the wedding photos. Didn't touch them. I guess those vows meant as little to her as everything else we shared. Just before walking out, she turned around, keys in hand. Was any of it real to you? I didn't move. It was. Until it wasn't. And then she laughed. That night, I finally let myself fall apart. I poured a drink, sat in the dark living room, and just let it all hit me. All those memories, her laughing while cooking, dancing barefoot during thunderstorms, spontaneous road trips in the middle of the night, they all felt fake now. Like dreams someone else had, not me. I hated how much I still missed her. Hated that my chest clenched every time I passed her empty seat at the table. But most of all, I hated what she had become. How I couldn't even look at her now without feeling sick. I stared at the divorce papers sitting on the coffee table. Her signature was already there, sloppy, like she didn't give a damn. Mine wasn't yet. I hesitated. Then I signed. The next morning, I sent the documents to Todd, my lawyer, and booked a flight to Salt Lake City. I needed out. I needed air. I needed a damn restart. I called my brother and told him I was coming. While packing, I found something buried in the back of my nightstand drawer, a birthday card from 2 years ago. She'd written, "No matter what happens, I'll never stop choosing you." I laughed out loud. Bitter. Empty. I ripped the card in half and tossed it in the trash. She stopped choosing me the minute she started locking her phone. At the airport, I looked around, couples, kids, strangers with their own stories, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not joy. Not peace. Relief. She tried to break me. Used love like a blade. All she really did was give me a reason to find myself again. And the man I'm becoming now? That's someone she'll never meet. Salt Lake City felt different. The air hit sharp and clean, like it hadn't been poisoned by lies. My brother David met me at the airport. He didn't say much, just gave me that look, the kind only someone who's seen you wrecked before can give, and handed me a black coffee without a word. We drove in silence for a while. Just the hum of the truck and the mountains rolling by. He had a place near Provo. No neighbors. No noise. Just space. Enough for a man to breathe again. That first night, I laid in his guest room, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what I was supposed to feel. Anger? Freedom? Emptiness? Truth is, I didn't feel anything. I was hollowed out, like she'd scooped everything out of me and left a shell behind. The next morning, I finally told David everything. How she threatened me. Laughed about it. The way her eyes lit up like she was proud of the damage she'd done. He didn't interrupt. Just nodded, jaw tightening with every sentence. Finally, he looked at me and said, "Peter, you married a demon." Then he added, "And demons? They only understand fire." I laughed. Really laughed. Harder than I had in weeks. Tears ran down my face, not from pain, but from release. It didn't fix anything. But it was a start. That week in Salt Lake City reminded me I was still breathing. I stayed for 7 days. Hiked. Drank whiskey. Went completely off-grid. No email. No social media. No calls from the lawyer. Just me. David took me to this old boxing gym he used to train at. I hadn't thrown a punch in years, but the second that glove hit the heavy bag, something deep inside me cracked wide open. I didn't count the rounds. I just kept swinging until the ache in my shoulders drowned out the ache in my chest. On day 5, I got a message from Todd. "Check your email. You're going to want to see this." I did. And I froze. It was a thread of text between her and the guy she'd been cheating with. His name was Scott. Real creative. She wasn't just lying, she was bragging. Telling him how she was bleeding me dry, calling me weak. One message read, "He's too soft to fight back. Always has been. I'll get half. Hell, maybe I'll let Scott move into the house just to piss him off." I read it twice. Then again. And I smiled. Because the more rope she gave me, the tighter she was tying her own noose. I forwarded the messages to Todd with one sentence. "Let's finish this." By the time I got back home, her name was already being dragged through the early stages of legal hell. Todd had filed a motion to freeze her accounts pending an investigation into financial misconduct and infidelity. Just like that, the little fantasy world she built started to buckle. She tried to call. I didn't answer. She came by the house. I didn't open the door. She even sent me a long, fake sincere email about how she'd been confused, influenced by the wrong people, blah, blah, blah. I printed it out, crumpled it, and fed it to the fire. A few days later, I ran into her by accident, grocery store. She looked hollow, thin, like she'd been wearing guilt like a weighted coat. Makeup caked on thick, like she was trying to paint herself back into the person she used to be. She was standing in front of the freezer aisle, staring at a bag of pre-cooked shrimp like it held the meaning of life. When she spotted me, her lips parted. "Peter." I raised my hand. "Don't. Just don't." There's nothing left to say. Her eyes searched mine, looking for pity, maybe a crack of hope. I gave her nothing. She stepped forward. "I miss you." "You miss the man you betrayed? The one you tried to bleed dry and bury?" I was scared, she whispered. "No," I said, steady. "You were selfish." Big difference. Then I walked right past her. She didn't follow. That night, I made dinner alone. Steak. Roasted potatoes. A bottle of red. Music playing low in the background. Same kitchen. Same table. But this time, no pretending. No lies wrapped in silence. I wasn't okay. Not yet. But at least I could admit it now. When I finished my last sip of wine, I glanced over at my phone. No texts. No lies. No threats. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. The next few weeks moved like slow unraveling. Everything she left behind, her clothes, that ridiculous live, laugh, love wall sign, the half-empty perfume bottle in the bathroom, I boxed it all up and left it in the garage. I didn't throw it out of spite. I did it because I couldn't stand the smell of her lingering one more second. I changed everything. New locks. New mattress. Hell, I even got rid of the plates. We'd picked them out together at some overpriced store, playing happy couple while she was already halfway gone. I sold the whole set. Ate off paper plates for a while. And you know what? It felt cleaner. Friends started reaching out. Some offered sympathy like I'd lost a loved one. Others were just nosy, itching for gossip. Did she really cheat? Who's the guy? What are you going to do now? I kept my answer short. Changed the subject. Because unless you've lived it, you don't understand. You don't know what it's like to look into someone's eyes for years, trust them with your life, only to realize they were wearing a mask the whole damn time. But I was healing. Slowly. Quietly. I started running again. Mornings. Headphones in. No destination. Just motion. I changed my phone number. Deleted every photo. Blocked her on everything. It wasn't revenge. It was survival. Her voice had haunted my head for far too long. She didn't get to live there rent-free anymore. Then one night, around 2 a.m., my phone lit up. Unknown number. I stared at it. It rang again, and against my better judgment. I answered. "Peter," she said, voice soft. Fragile. Like the wind might carry her away. I didn't respond. "I know you don't want to hear from me," she whispered. But I didn't know who else to call. "You've got Scott," I said flatly. There was a pause. "He's gone. Left 2 weeks ago. Took my car. My savings. Everything." I should have felt vindicated. Should have smiled. But I didn't feel anything. "Well," I muttered, "sounds like he was in it for all the right reasons." "I deserve that," she said, voice cracking. "I probably deserve worse." Another pause. "I made a mistake." "No," I said quietly. "You made a decision." "I was stupid." "No, you were cruel." "That's not the same thing." She started crying. Real, messy crying. The kind that used to gut me. Now, it just sounded like static. Background noise from a channel I didn't tune into anymore. "I just wanted someone to choose me," she sobbed. "I did," I said. "Every damn day." And then I hung up. The next morning, I donated every last piece of clothing she left behind. Heels. Jackets. Those designer purses I gave her on anniversaries. I packed it all into boxes and dropped it off at a women's shelter downtown. Then I rolled the windows down, turned the music up, and drove home like I was 20 again, wind in my face, heart a little lighter. A few days later, the divorce was finalized. Clean break. No alimony. No asset split. She signed everything without a fight. I think she finally realized what I already knew she'd already lost. That night, David came over with a bottle of bourbon and a couple cigars. "To freedom," he said, raising his glass. We drank out back under the same stars I once wished on with her. But now, I wasn't wishing for her to come home. I was wishing for peace. And for the first time, I could feel it starting to settle in. I still think about her sometimes, not with love, not even hate, just with clarity. She showed me exactly what I'll never accept again, what I won't tolerate. And for that, I thank her from a distance. She thought I'd fall apart. But I didn't. I rebuilt. And the man I am now? He doesn't beg. He doesn't break. He doesn't forget. And he sure as hell doesn't let someone like her back in. About a month later, I ran into her mother at the farmer's market. She was standing by a table of peaches, eyes distant, like her mind was 1,000 miles away. I nearly walked past, but she noticed me first. "Oh, Peter," she said, surprised. "You look good." I nodded. "Thanks. You too." There was a strange silence, like we were both holding something sharp and didn't want to be the first to drop it. Then she looked down and said quietly, "I'm sorry. For everything." I didn't know what to say to that. I always liked her, even when her daughter started going sideways. She was warm, kind. But now, I didn't know how to look at her without seeing her. "It's not your fault," I finally said. "We all make choices." She told me some of what happened, her mom said. "Not everything, I'm sure." I raised an eyebrow. Did she mention that she threatened to ruin my life if I didn't stay silent? Her eyes widened. "No, she didn't tell me that." "Well," I said, "now you know." She reached out and gently touched my arm. "I hope you find someone who sees what she was too blind to appreciate." I gave her a polite smile. "I already did." She looked confused. I found myself, and I left her standing there, holding a peach she never bought. That night, I dug through an old drawer and found my journal. Leather-bound, nearly forgotten. I used to write all the time, pages filled with thoughts, stories, dreams. Before life got too loud, I cracked it open to a blank page. She thought she broke me, but really, she gave me my life back. The words came easy, like blood from a wound finally getting air. And for the first time, writing didn't feel like pain, it felt like healing. I didn't care if anyone ever read it. That was never the point. A few nights later, David dragged me out to a bar. Nothing fancy, just a little place with live music, cold beer, and no expectations. I almost didn't go, but something in me said, "Go live again." That's when I met her, Nancy. No expectations, no plans. Just two strangers near the same pool table, ordering the same whiskey. She wasn't flashy, wasn't putting on a show. She was just real. We talked. Nothing deep. Music. Movies. Her dog who thinks socks are a food group. And for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I had to wear armor. I didn't bring up my past, and she didn't ask. It wasn't about filling a void. It was just one easy night with someone who didn't carry knives behind her smile. When I got home, I didn't overthink it. Didn't stare at my phone waiting for her to text. I just smiled. Not because she was the one, but because she reminded me, not everyone is like her. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. It was from her. 5 pages. Apologies. Regrets. A list of things she wished she could undo. She said Scott had taken everything, her money, her car, and vanished. Said he cheated on her with someone younger. That now, she was crashing on a friend's couch, wondering how it all fell apart. She ended the letter with, "You were the only real thing in my life. I didn't deserve you. But I hope one day you'll think of me and remember something good." I folded the letter in half, slipped it into the back of my journal, and closed it. I didn't need to respond. Some ghosts don't need exorcising. They just need to fade. The next morning, I took the long route to work. Windows down. Wind in my hair. Music turned all the way up. Stopped at a red light, caught my reflection in the side mirror, same face. But the eyes? Different. Clear. Focused. No longer searching for answers in places where betrayal used to live. And for the first time since the night she walked out in that red dress, I said it out loud. "I'm good." And I meant it. The weeks rolled on. The chaos faded. No more late-night calls. No court hearings. No texts from the past. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that used to scare me. Now, I welcomed it. I redecorated the house, not to erase her, but to reclaim it. I took down every photo. Every shared moment that clung to the walls like dead leaves. I repainted. Changed the lighting. Tossed the couch she used to sit on, scrolling through her phone while I sat there, invisible. I wasn't running from the past. I was walking towards something better.